Gil, unfortunately, refuses to accept April as his mom because
my mother's a shark, not a robot.
And it is hard to argue with that. I used to say that to my mom all the time when I was a kid.
It's
John Cena! Wait, Aston is on this plane too? How? Where is the government?
Shut the f*** up and let me do my job!
Then, the movie hints at an upcoming Fast and Furious crossover.
This isn't about sharks. It's about
John Cena! Nova reveals that these shark attacks have happened before in history and that there's a shark god, a shad, I guess. Eventually, Tony Chekhov ices Stain, and then he and Pepper hack a big arc reactor to explode and kill Stain, resulting in the MCU's first big blue light beam. Later the next day, Coulson carefully crafts a cover story for Tony that Tony immediately blows up by admitting, "I am John Cena!" In the end credits, we see a one-eyed Shaft-looking dude named Nick Fury who asks Tony if he thinks Tony is the only superhero, which, yo, let me have another crack at him, man. I just love fighting. And Ross is like, well, you're what, 45? And Roth goes, no, I'm 39. And Ross is like, yeah, this job ages you, so that's probably why you look old. And surely there are other actors in the world that could have played this role, right?
And his name is John Cena!
I get that he should be relatively unassuming so that when he inevitably takes the drug himself at some point, the contrast will be greater, but Thor shows up and nobody's surprised even though he somehow fell out of the boat in the impossible death trap of death. And then Banner shows up and is like, I can transform into Hulk whenever I want because I'm always angry and super in control.
That's my secret, Cap. I'm always
John Cena! Even though he literally wasn't in control when he transformed into Hulk like 15 minutes ago and almost killed everybody on board the helicarrier, but if she gets it right, Beefy Boy goes free. Get it wrong, and he will not. First, he asks the name of the killer in Halloween. She gets it right. Then he asks her the killer on Friday the 13th, but she gets it wrong because it's not John Cena! Because it's not Jason! It's his admittedly not the best mom.
Oh, there's Mother now.
I am not dreaming. I am not crazy.
The cops and Dewey finally show up, but get this, the killer has escaped. What? They finally go to confront the producer man named Mixon.
You're obsessed with her, and you're obsessed with
John Cena! And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember Sid's mom because I set up a party where she was maybe gangbanged, but like, that's Hollywood, baby. She knew what she was getting into, and they're like, damn.
There's never been one like me.
Gail gets stabbed and appears to die, but of course, as the only legacy character in the movie still receiving a paycheck, she survives off screen. Probably only died for like 3 minutes, which is basically nothing. I once accidentally put anthrax on my pizza instead of Parmesan, and I fully died for 3 minutes, but 7 months later, I was totally fine.
Well, it just so happens that your friend here is only mostly
John Cena! Did you know that Cracked had an anthrax attack when the anthrax stuff was happening? Desperately needs to invest in a toiletries bag. Whatever, she isn't immediately murdered, so she heads back to her cabin and dons a Victorian nightgown and lights a little Victorian candle and lies down to read her little Victorian book. But before she can die of consumption or being sad or whatever it was that Victorian women died of, she hears a little kid's voice saying, help me. And it's like I've always said, live like you're in the Victorian era, get haunted by a Victorian ghost.
I was just sitting in the U-bend thinking about
John Cena! It's a tale as old as 20 or so. She wanders around trying to find the wee voice while a hand turns off the power. The not sex-having bike twin leaves when one of the other loser dudes throws on some vintage porn to giggle at for most of the rest of the runtime. But she doesn't get far, though, because, well, that's 1 point for the Voorhees.
And in first place, with 472 points,
John Cena! Interestingly, the vintage pornography does something for Sarah, so she propositions her boyfriend and heads upstairs to prepare the bunk bed that they're about to vigorously share.
Get it the f*** out. This is a restaurant, not a f*** nursery.
Oh, but actually, it's okay because she props the child up on a chest-high counter in an unsecured cardboard box in the back room. So I'm sure that the baby will be totally fine and won't immediately fall to her death in 2 or 3 minutes.
It wasn't just the baby that died that day.
I'm just messing around. Obviously, we don't need to worry about that because the suspected murderer was hiding in there and he just pops out and starts touching the baby.
I don't even know your name.
His name is John Cena! At least until this overgrown child walks in and is like,
take my car.
Get out.
Everybody thinks you're a killer, baby toucher. Steve drives to the old Voorhees house that I'm fairly certain we've never seen before.
I think that that's something that we have to model more in politics.
Anyway, the cop from the beginning shows up in the kid's basement and is like, hey, I want to help. And whereas all the other cops think they're solely being attacked by Freddy, this dude thinks the main killer is actually John Cena. Then these apparently brilliant kids piece together that Freddy, a serial killer whose existence is wiped from all official records and who kills people in their dreams, must have used some of his power to resurrect Jason from hell to scare people enough to allow Freddy to grow strong enough to come back himself, and that is... And the Sector 7 guy explains, okay, so Sector 7 was created 80 years ago under President Hoover, and also they once saw a Transformer on Mars, but that was probably just a few years ago, but it looks a lot like a photo of the thing that attacked the base. And it's very fun to watch characters expositionally learn things that we ourselves already know, thanks to earlier exposition. Never have too much talking, especially if it's repeated stuff. When me watch Transformers, me not so good at retention, memory, fuzzy, repeat, muchly understand rich plot tapestry weave.
Are we talking about
John Cena? But wait, there's more. Much more! The things, they never stop. So there are again beep boop noises over the production logos, preceding more thrilling narration about the birthplace of human civilization and how humans and sentient Mack trucks are, they're pretty similar actually.
Earth. Birthplace of John Cena.
Also, there are some spear guys hunting a tiger until they accidentally stumble upon an assload of Transformers building a machine who massacres them.
Hello.
Sam is like, I'm pretty sure that means that the orgy tomb is near the Red Sea because I cannot stress how stupid these movies are.
Go now, go!
And I know I shouldn't bother to ask questions, but if the machine harvests suns and they can go to any planet, why didn't they all just agree to go to any other planet? The extreme vast majorities of suns in the universe are not attached to planets housing life. I've checked.
Hello,
John Cena,
my old friend?
In fact, the chances of them finding the one planet that does house life is borderline impossible.
There seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere.
Sam and Fox try their damnedest to get their dusty cum sock to Optimus Prime. Complicating matters is the fact that his parents show up inexplicably. So that takes a couple minutes of runtime to resolve, where Sam tries to trade his wank sock for his parents, which is, basically capitalism, I think, until Bumble shows up and de-spines a cat. And also there's a chicken. John crawls to the top of a pyramid nipple to order airstrikes by calling up the captain of the USS John and recaps the stakes for us in case we'd forgotten amidst the endless explosions. And he says the word scrotum. Oh, by the way, this part makes sense. Inside of Earth is actually a big-ass transformer called
Unicron.
And he is Cybertron, who I guess is also alive. He is Cybertron. Well, I mean, he's not alive, but if he was alive, if they remade him, he would be alive. And Unicron, which is inside Earth, and is, I think, alive but asleep, they're ancient enemies. And also, Optimus Prime is now going to go by the name Nemesis Prime because he's brainwashed, and we need to know that he's evil, okay? And then Quintessa, she's hoping to suck out all of Unicron's juices to put him inside his Cybertron to reboot it. With the staff, of course, obviously. You tracking?
The place you call Earth has another name.
And his name is John Cena! Cybertron's ancient enemy.
Enough of that.
It is time you knew the truth.
Back to Earth, where Transformers remain fully illegal everywhere. Time for this two-time Oscar winner to explain that he's the final surviving member of the Order of Witwickens, a secret society founded way back in the 5th century, dedicated to keeping the existence of Transformers in the closet. Former members include
General Washington, William Shakespeare, Queen Elizabeth of England, Abraham Lincoln,
John Cena!
And every member of the Order is now dead. But the Order at one point included Sam Witwicky, so he's dead now, like officially?
Do it!
Well, rest in peace, my guy.
I've fallen.
I don't know. But apparently it's now 1987, which means that the Cybertron Civil War was still ongoing as recently as the 80s?
Get more Autobots!
That makes all these events really close together. Whatever. There are some Spec Ops dudes playing paintball, including... No, seriously, it's actually John Cena.
John Cena!
All of my videos have been building to this moment. 3 years in the making. Everything I've ever done in my whole life has brought us here. I am the architect, vis-a-vis, concordantly.
I have no idea what the hell I'm saying.
There's also some maybe Sherpa types with 1936 South American asses that scare incredibly easily. And also jungle decor and monkey ambiance, like an old-timey rainforest cafe.
Discover the mystery and intrigue of John Cena.
There's also a poisonous dart in a tree and Doc Ock.
Hello, senor.
Truly all the fixins for an all-time rager and a terrible experience for the Rainforest Cafe staff.
A wild place to
Hat-Man, also known as Indiana Jones.
Hey, that's the name of the show.
Fills a bag with sand, just in case he needs a bag with sand later. Man, he's gonna feel so silly if he doesn't need a bag of sand later.
I don't like sand.
But he is willing to take that risk, and that's how the movie establishes that he is a hero. Truly, this castle is the most fun, non-bouncy castle in the world. So many secrets! So many Nazis.
Hi, Hitler.
Heil Hitler.
Heil Hitler. Heil Hitler.
Heil Hitler.
John Cena.
Is that fun? Maybe in Whitefish, Montana.
Oh, hell no.
Then the second trap requires walking in the name of God, like that glass bridge scene in Squid Game. He correctly deduces this means he has to hop on squares that spell out Jehovah. But my guy, God has so many names.
They call me Hell. They call me John Cena.
In fact, even Jehovah in this instance apparently begins with an I. He goes to hide out at, hey, Digger Guy's house because Indy helped him and his family immigrate.
Perhaps.
After the fall of the mines of Moria because, yes, I just realized this guy is also Gimli.
I thought I'd die fighting side by side with an elf.
What about side by side with
John Cena.
Perhaps not.
Indy determines he needs to go catch Wombat and or the Dial because, as is, he's currently wanted for the murder of those two professors.
This is gonna be huge.
The auction quickly devolves into a fight when Indy shows up, and it lasts so long that by the time it spills outdoors, it's a whole new day. Unfortunately, Mads was there with his goons too.
You're confused. My name is
And he's the one currently holding the MacGuffin in the elevated game of Schmear the
Water displacement.
in a nearby pool, which I guess causes it to turn into a water slide. Because again, like the booby seesaw from earlier, not everything in ancient temples has to be a booby trap. It's important to remember to have fun in your fart rooms.
Archimedes was fascinated by
John Cena.
They find the tomb in the other half of the dial, but they also find a modern watch, suggesting that Archimedes did actually travel in time, and I guess all he got was that stupid watch? Why didn't he grab an Xbox? What an idiot! Why in every sci-fi, fantasy, or horror movie do people just straight up say shit they know that others won't believe? If they really wanted to save people, they wouldn't go around screaming that they're being chased by a werewolf or a robot werewolf.
spooky, scary.
They'd say that they were being stalked by a crazy person in a stupid costume while they were high on bath salts or whatever else was in those baggies I found stuffed in a bag in that Bus Depot toilet that one time.
Boys becoming men, men becoming
John Cena.
becoming wolves.
That's something that people will believe, and it will make them take all the necessary precautions. He heads inside and is like, give me your clothes, motorcycle man, who is an endomorph as compared to all these mesomorphs in here.
I need you.
But once again, the guy is totally unfazed
You forgot to say.
and responds by casually putting a cigar out on the Terminator's rippling bare chest. It is like these movies are built around the idea that if you didn't know a wall of muscled meat with murderous intent was a robot, you'd have no reason to be scared of them. Yeah, we done tried to make people into robots a bunch, but everybody we did it to went insane and died, except apparently John, which actually proves that he's Catholic. At least that was the logic RoboCop 2 used to explain why they couldn't make any more RoboCops. It was because of his powerful Catholicness. That's what helped him not go crazy. So John Connor is also a Catholic, confirmed.
Nobody can get away with this. Not a priest or a cardinal or a freaking John Cena.
If you even look at me the way you are, I will smile from ear to ear for the rest of the evening.
Anyway, Mr. Catholic Connor works at Cyberdyne currently, and he's helping them build their own time machine, because really anybody can do it. Dave and I built one last week and used it to throw snowballs at baby Hitler. The others show up to Cyberdyne a few minutes later, which is weird because John's helicopter went down and theirs didn't. But then again, his cells were hacked, so checkmate, Jordan.
False alarm.
And Genesis manifests as a little computer boy to taunt and annoy them and also me.
I know who you are. John.
Because Hal was cool that one time.
I'm sorry, Dave.
Nearly every Polish undertaking either started or was directed
from
John Cena.
Granted, it is Halloween. In POV, there are some horny teens making out in the window. I mean, if you squint hard enough. Anyway, said novel first transports the reader to ancient Ireland, where a disabled boy named Enda is rejected by the woman of his dreams because he isn't a lad worthy of that wench's pretty hole. That's a quote from the book, a real book that was sold. But really, what lad is? Whose hole might a lad be worthy of? But Enda responds to his whole rejection by brutally stabbing her in the boob. Oh, young love! Also in the car, he clarifies that druids had fire rituals and burned shit, and actually witches aren't the problem, it's the unconscious mind, so just be aware of that.
Samhain isn't evil spirits. It isn't goblins, ghosts, or witches. It's
a rat's ass.
Hermione's just like in your mind, dude.
Hermione, is that you?
Unfortunately for Jamie, having an uncle who's a little unconventional has made her a favorite bully target.
Boogeyman, boogeyman, Jenny's uncle's
It's John Cena.
Well, that and the fact that she isn't currently wearing a costume, which feels like a lesser issue.
Hey Jamie, where's your costume?
Let he who is without a serial killer for an uncle and or a sexy costume cast the first mocking orphan chant.
That makes sense.
An interesting theory, but facts don't care about your canine feelings in the same way that the town power plant doesn't care about this electrician's body, except in the sense that his twitching corpse causes it to explode and kill power to the entire town. Sort of like Ben Shapiro's brain after watching a movie about girls' dolls.
This movie is a flaming piece of dog.
You are John Cena.
Oh, okay, here's Jamie. And a pumpkin.
Slutty pumpkin.
And Danny threatens him with a steak knife after some encouragement from, again, the imaginary bootsman.
Give me the knife, Danny.
Wussy can't finish the job, though, so everybody, including Bro's girlfriend, heads off to school like, ha, that was so wacky.
Tonight's the night we bring some life back into this town.
Mornings at the Strodes are crazy because, yes, this is Laurie's uncle's family.
My name. My real name.
It's Dwayne Johnson.
Keepa. Really, nothing upsets her mommy at all until, oh no, she drops all her shit.
Works prima.
The fancy podcasters have pivoted to convincing Laurie to rank her favorite Marvel films. She lives in the sort of isolated fortress that all former Final Girls live in.
Hey.
And she only agrees to the interview when bribed with a cool $3,000.
How does $3,000 sound?
I like money.
The interview, of course, offers little to no insight on why Phase 5 has been such a wet blanket.
There's nothing to learn. There are no new insights or discoveries.
Your mind is being held hostage by your alternate self.
Who?
John Cena.
But it does reveal that Laurie has 2 failed marriages and that the state took her daughter from her when the kid was 12, probably just because she likes homeschooling.
I didn't.
Everyone's entitled to one good.
They punch and shoot him a lot, and Kitty gets in a good stab or two. But he is still Michael Myers, and Laurie makes some point elsewhere about, oh no, he definitely gets stronger the more people he kills, and that makes him transcend
into something else impossible to defeat.
And his name is John Cena.
Because, you know, he is evil incarnate, and he's probably not gonna die tonight. But she's got a lot of fun theories like this, and well, he does get back up. Eventually, Laurie knifes Myers to her island, and she pulls off his mask and decides, definitely, okay, this is just a guy, I think. I mean, I guess.
Do we proceed? Yes, he is still only human.
And I'm glad that we know that now, after 50 discussions about how he's anything but just a guy. And Laurie slices little man meat parts off of the man.
I thought maybe you were
John Cena.
Allison, meanwhile, sees the radio station burning and determines that that means that Corey was actually maybe not a nice boy, so she drives back to the house and saves Laurie at the last second when Myers reaches up and tries to give her the old chokey.
Metaphorically speaking.
Loomis this whole time has failed to get through to Myers despite offering up such witticisms as, yo, I've been working for you like
Twice as long as my first marriage.
lol, but yeah, also I need to give up because I clearly suck at this.
In a weird way, you've become like
John Cena!
So Loomis goes off and writes a book on Myers, which is the much more financially savvy play, right? Or is it? Getting paid to talk to a guy who doesn't talk back sort of sounds like my relationship with all of you. What's a way that we can show that there's a shady guy at this party? I guess that is odd.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it.
I don't know. But Christian's old dom pops up in the bathroom and is like, hey girl, Christian needs a submissive or he's gonna snap and kill somebody and or go to jail. I just helped him get an outlet for his, kind of innate violence.
All I did was lead him to the truth of who he really is.
John Cena!
Yeah.
And Anastasia's like,
There's no way that someone like you could ever understand what we have.
does she want any kids anytime soon? And furthermore, they really never thought to talk about this before getting married? Did she forget that children existed until that kid with the rock?
Take it, it's a human boy.
Quick, somebody hand her a book before she forgets that, oops, while she was on our honeymoon, she got promoted to fiction editor of her company.
Who's the new fiction editor?
John Cena!
You're gonna read that book. And you're gonna read it now!
And you weren't even here.
Hooray. Her hard work of getting hole-balled by a billionaire has finally paid off. This also makes Katie be like, screw you, Mika. You've tried purchasing a camera, and you also did the baby powder, and yet the demon remains.
I'm making progress.
No, you haven't been having any progress.
I'm calling the demon guy, and wait, so Mika was pitching those things as solutions? I thought he was just like gathering evidence. I thought the Ouija board was his attempt to like do something about it, which now that I think about it, sort of makes the baby powder and really the camera like redundant at this point. Like surely they've proved it's real, or at least that something bad is happening. They just need to figure out how to get rid of it.
I'm making progress.
Unfortunately, the demon guy also has a lot of American airline miles, and he's out of town.
Who you gonna call?
Well, I called Dr. Avery's, and he's...
John Cena!
How the do you know?
Yes, he's out of the country. He'll be back.
Fortunately, the psychic guy said he could come back tomorrow.
I got peanut butter on my penis.
And despite his mangled bits, Daddy takes Mommy on a date, leaving Hunter with Allie, who immediately invites Brad over to do some Ouija. And it turns out that the demon wants what everybody wants.
P-U-S-S.
Oh, it spells... Oh, it spells...
John Cena!
And I mean, yeah, look, while she sleeps, her crotch is attacked by a shadow. That's why I always sleep in a vacuum-sealed jockstrap. That, and because sometimes Dave escapes from the basement at night. You can never be too careful.
Crazy horny.
No, it's totally normal.
And Julia's like, whatever, honey. If I say no, there'll be no movies. So knock yourself out, big guy, who, by the way, he was in this sketch.
It's totes the best hun cow froyo.
Hun cow?
Every guy should have a knowledge of it.
It's kind of funny.
Yes. Now, please, I'm trying to concentrate. I shared a bagel with
John Cena!
Young Christy then talks to Toby on camera, which is weird, and when pressed on it later, Christy confirms that Toby is old.
He's old like Grandma.
I'm so old.
I thought the universal rule of finding a stranger's VHS tapes in the 1980s was calling in all your buddies so you can watch what is most likely porn together, and then deepening your bonds while you all come of age together.
Sure!
Whatever, now we're at Grandma's eating pie because Grandmas love pie, and Christy pretends to marry Toby until Julie shuts that down.
So who's the lucky guy?
His name is
Toby.
I don't want to hear Toby's name ever again.
You probably will.
Anyway, because the mom is, I guess, a Christian despite this.
What the
This is why you're going to hell.
They decide to call all the Catholic priests in town until one agrees to come case their joint. And he's like, your daughter is for sure being stalked by a demon. And like, we know, Father. And he's like, so don't go anywhere. It'll follow. And like,
We know, Father.
and then he anoints Leela with some holy water and also Bubba.
Does your friend have a name?
His name is
Geraldine?
When I want backup,
Down my ass apart, Holmes.
I don't know. But there's a couple of other, I assume, lovers named Scorpion and Sub-Zero who have weird powers. But before they can get too frisky with the new boat recruits, Raiden blasts a bunch of lightning and is like, just so you know, I'm the protector of Earthrealm.
My dominions are well known to me.
John Cena!
And also, yeah, so we're about to do a Mortal Kombat tournament, and what's special about this year, or generation, I suppose, is we're getting delicious catered barbecue.
When the
did we get barbecue?
What?
Not today.
Like me at the last season of Game of Thrones, Alessa gets pretty peeved about the whole being set on fire thing. You thought I was going to talk about how at the end of Game of Thrones I was disappointed, but no, I was set on fire. I don't know. What's the joke there? One of my cousins was over and I tried to do some stuff and they set me on fire. Can we use that?
Not today.
The f*** are you talking about? I don't know.
There is only one God, and his name is
John Cena!
I had to do it! I had to do it! I had to do it!
She's so peeved, in fact, that her soul splits into a dark part, which is the weird girl we've been chasing and who is somehow responsible for all the shifting dimensions of Silent Hill, and a nice part.
had to be good.
You get him yet? We got him!
But unfortunately, their guns suck, because neither Ice-T nor the Leprechaun actually dies. Does this mean Ice-T is Irish? Does the T stand for tyranny?
Wait, that's Irish.
They should have used the potato cannon. Am I right, Dave? Later at the club, Ice-T needs to take a
Big shit, ugly shit.
So he heads into the bathroom where he smokes a joint with the Leprechaun. Now, he knows what the Leprechaun is. He's had him in his office for 20 years, but he doesn't seem overly worried about him. In fact, he indulges when the Leprechaun grabs his finger and asks a knock-knock joke.
Knock, knock. Who's there? John Cena!
We knew this was gonna happen.
Then he gets his finger ripped off, which I guess reminds him that, yeah, oh, this Leprechaun guy is not the bomb.
The bomb?
If I told you the WWE was behind a Leprechaun reboot, what would you expect the overall vibe to be? Goofy, over the top, basically just a heightened and hopefully better version of what we've already gotten, right? But no! Leprechaun Origins, the direct sequel to X-Men Origins Wolverine, is entirely serious.
Sound logic.
I know.
And also, by the way, the Purge only exists to kill poor people and make the economy better by not having as much welfare and stuff. And the news is like, damn, this could have implications for the impending presidential cycle.
I guess we'll never know for sure.
But would it?
Senator Roan is proving to be the greatest threat to the NFFA regime since
John Cena!
The Purge has been going on for what, 24 years now? That's a full generation raised believing this is all basically normal, and the main reason they've lived in an ostensibly flourishing economy.
Being vegan just makes you better than most people.
Bingo.
But also, he sparkles in the sunshine, which there's no joke I could write here that hasn't already been written, so I'll just say, I'm sorry that you hate your sparkles, Ed. Has anybody ever said that to you? I feel your pain. You are known. You are loved. You are
John Cena!
Hey! This joke is played out, editor of this section, who is me. I guess it's true what they say. The hardest battles you'll ever fight is against
John Cena!
Just kidding, Brian Slack edited this section primarily, but I thought it'd be funnier if I pretended that I edited this section, which, to be fair, I will go back through and edit this section, but I don't wanna write Brian Slack out of history. Thanks, Brian.
You're welcome. You better hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
Betrayed by the editor once again.
You're welcome.
My monkey man.
I will say, actually, that apparently Robert Pattinson had like 10 lines to choose from right here. So, you know, this was a choice that Robert Pattinson made. Just like the choice to drop nuclear bombs on Japan. Think about that.
You better hold on tight.
John Cena!
Anyway, here Edward is playing the Twilight soundtrack.
Why would you say that?
No, seriously, the worst thing about being a vampire is that I can't kill myself, says Ed, teenage role model.
Little poison, dagger to the heart.
Shot in the butt!
So many different options.
And like, I'm sure you could if you really tried. Have you jumped in a volcano? I feel like this is more of a skill issue, TBH.
The only thing that can hurt me
is John Cena!
Why would you say that?
Regardless, I feel like there might be other downsides to being a vampire that we should maybe consider in this movie for sad teens.
Eating disorders.
And look at that! Now there's a hot lady wolf. And do those clothes shredding naked rules apply to her? Oh my god, they do! Chase her to see what happens when she transforms back. Side note, it's funny to be like, we don't wear shirts because they rip, but shorts are so inherently valueless that we don't really mind, I guess.
It's not a chick thing.
1860s Confederate Jasper probably says lots of uncomfortable things during the Cullen Thanksgiving dinners where they suck the live turkeys dry.
I never lost a fight.
Oh my god, twist! Victoria is behind the impending vampire army. Holy shit! Holy shit! I never would have guessed that.
Welcome to the army.
ceremony of meat.
The movie acts like this is some sort of reveal, but like who else would it be?
His name is John Cena!
Also, she's got this vampire boy just pussy whipped. Fair. Oh, hey, one of the vampires is that girl from Silent Hill. Fun.
Meow, meow.
And then the head Italian is like, okay, so I was just sitting here thinking, you know, just doing my little thinkies. And like, isn't it crazy how scary humans are now? Like, they've got some really big weapons, I just realized. Like, I saw Oppenheimer in IMAX the other weekend and like, whoa, scary stuff. And so I'd prefer if my life was full of things I was sure about and knew well. And this half-breed baby is sort of giving me the willies, so I think the safe thing to do would be to kill it, you know? You guys tracking with my logic on this? It's all just coming off the dome. I'm just spitballing, so I apologize if it's a little rambling. You guys know how I get. Tell me if I'm rambling, please. This is a safe space, just not for that kid that we want to kill.
And we know nothing of what this child will become.
John Cena!
But then Alice and Jasper magically appear from the woods and...
But oh wait, there's a fourth, even more secret cop with fly-ass shades and a look that just screams, I'm not particularly fond of Jewish people, or black people, or
John Cena!
Well, I'll add it to my threat collection.
Anyway, he drives straight at Knight Rider for a second before chickening out and then whipping the car around and tailgating Knight Rider so closely that Knight Rider starts crying. I'm actually a little confused by this. Like, the bikers literally go, ah, shit, we left Johnny.
Johnny the boy has done it again.
And they send somebody back for him.
You are going back for him.
But does he not own his own vehicle? Is he stupid? Why did he stay? Is he like an outlaw biker intern and has to run after the gang on his legs while making vroom vroom noises until he earns his wheels? I don't know. But he's arrested now, except, oops, no, he's not, because nobody wants to press charges.
The punks didn't show. The girl didn't show.
John Cena
didn't show. Nobody showed.
And also the lawyers think he's mentally unstable. And while Goose is very upset about this,
Shut up.
Keep going, Johnny. Keep going.
I don't think they're wrong.
John Adam, he's skull, man. He ain't never come back.
It gets everywhere.
Oh, you sneaky gas people. They gaslighted everyone. Max carries the kid like a beanbag chair, and it appears he didn't know he was literally just a random distraction, and the actual juicy juice was hidden in the civilian vehicles, but he takes it all in stride. He's just like, ha, well, those guys got me.
The juice, the precious juice, was hidden in the vehicles.
Somewhere on the road, Max found his sense of humor. And Gyro Guy survived, and apparently they make him the new leader of the gas people because they're apparently super desperate.
Among us, we found a new leader, the man who came from the sky.
John Cena!
And it's revealed that the narrator is actually the feral boomerang kid who learned to speak pretty okay, given that he was inarticulate at like 6 years old.
As for me,
And Ong randomly is like, fun fact, they figured out I was the Avatar by putting 1,000 toys in front of me, and I picked the exact same 4 that my predecessor picked, but how do we know that those aren't just the 4 best toys? I mean, what if it was like 996 Furbies and then like 4 Xboxes? Maybe Ong just has a great taste in toys?
If I want an Xbox, why don't I just get an Xbox?
That's when they told me I could have no family.
And also, what did they do with the other 996 toys? Oh, sorry, poor village children. We have to put these back under lock and key for the next Avatar's test in 100 years. Why don't you go play with that rock that looks vaguely like
John Cena?
When you get 1,000 toys? I don't even think Toys R Us has 1,000 toys, and they went out of business. That's what they did. They went to Toys R Us clearance.
They gave me a test.
Basically, there never has and never will be any real sport to racing. And in fact, it's much closer to what we think of as the WWE. If stock prices were affected by whether The Rock or John Cena punched each other harder in their big bald penis.
And then that happens.
What? Short the stock, long the stock.
Although, maybe that does happen. I don't know. I read books, okay? I don't watch wrestling. I'm well read.
That's what racing is about. It has nothing to do with cars or drivers. All that matters is
John Cena! Short the stock!
But let me tell you, there are moments like this throughout the movie that are actually pretty great and poignant and interesting, and they are constantly getting undercut by this chubby child and his literal monkey friend conspiring to steal candy and commit vehicular homicide and shit.
Jake's up.
Things
go a little sideways for a moment when the Predator starts tracking Brody's big, throbbing, character-arcing heart, but a sniper round from the mostly paralyzed sniper lady gives Brody the space to finally knock the Predator's head right off. Then the survivors share names all sexy-like.
I'm Isabel.
I'm Royce.
Teaching the audience a valuable lesson that if you want to learn a person's name, you just have to kill some space monsters together. And uses the acid blood to draw on his helmet. Then he gets face hugged. Don't worry about it, it's no big deal. For now, Lex and the Italian are basically the only two left, and Lex is like, hey, we should give the Predator his gun back, because I think he's technically sort of on our side in that he's trying to kill aliens.
The enemy of my enemy is
John Cena!
But before that, we got a hero jump away from a xenomorph. Lex almost falls, but is caught by the Italian guy.
See, Julia died on it, and she can come back now like Frank.
Well, why didn't you say so?
Oh, and there's another few characters milling around here named Doc and Kyle. Doc, surgeon's brains,
must devote our lives and energies to going further.
And Kyle tries to help, I guess.
I'm Kyle McRae. Call me
John Cena!
But his pants, they are too high to be of much use to anybody.
Oh, Jesus, I'm sorry.
I mean, if Pinhead really wanted to see disturbing pleasures, he'd just look up the STD rates in nursing homes. They're real high.
We have such sights to show you.
But Joe's parents seem fine. Weird as shit, but fine.
Gets a little worse every day.
Of course, then he opens the door back into the child's room and his parents get murdered on the other side of the door, which is quite unfortunate. Rewind, now we're... Joe's back in bed with his smoking hot, worried wife and receiving the phone call from his mom.
John Cena!
So he runs again to the old folks' home again, and now his parents are missing, though they clearly bled the bed. No Depends in the world is that powerful, I guess.
That can be risky business.
Enjoying yourself?
As it turns out, this is what Logan Roy's wife was doing before they got married, I guess, which is to say she's a lawyer or something for a man named Roland Voight, who throws dope parties in Massachusetts.
Oh, Massachusetts!
And also makes people play with his ornate clubs.
It's a puzzle.
Oh, okay, it's a Hellraiser box, but in a new weird configuration. And Voight gets a dude named
Joey. Joseph. My friends call me
John Cena!
to solve it, but when he does, it stabs him in the hand. Before any of you weebs start yelling at me via anime profile pics, again, yes, I know that The Grudge is basically a reboot and also maybe a spin-off of a Japanese horror film series.
Do you want something?
But my position on that is the same as this movie's. I hear some Japanese words, but then slap. Now it's American, bitch. That's how I approach basically any foreign thing I don't understand. I slap it until it makes sense. That's the American way. That's my manifest destiny.
Does an eagle screech?
He's made of plastic and stuffing.
The next day, Andy lugs his huge-ass, freaky-ass doll to school, where he probably won't get beaten to a pulp by every single kid in his class, and probably one or two of the teachers, but he will still get in less trouble than the time that Dave tried to bring his doll to class. Oh, actually, never mind. He hops on a train and he goes to an abandoned house to take a tinkle. Wow, I guess the real monster in this movie and real life is a lack of public toilets in the US. I don't know if there was like a line at the school bathroom. Unfortunately, it just so happens that Chucky's former criminal associate is hiding out there, and Chucky sneaks in to take him out. It's worth noting that when the criminal fires his gun at Chucky, Andy runs towards the sound of gunshots.
Always look for
John Cena!
That kid is a hero. Send him to Afghanistan. Hell, he probably already has PTSD from this insane explosion stemming from Chucky rigging a stove. Chucky sneaks in and writes obscenities on Andy's schoolwork, which gets him and Andy locked in the classroom. But Andy escapes out a window and his teacher gets murdered with a yardstick. Classic school stuff. You remember that time you murdered your teacher with a yardstick, Dave? Oh, memories. Andy tries to tell his mean-ass foster dad that a doll is attacking him. He's mostly hung up on the name.
His name
is John Cena.
He's like, you're not being attacked by Chucky.
His name is Tommy.
I think you're focusing on the wrong part of the sentence. So that night, Andy grabs an electric meat cutter thing to go doll hunting.
Rude fucking doll.
Ugh, creepy opening font. Also, a wet-ass American flag, which is the most patriotic type of flag. It's flying over a police precinct housing Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers evidence, which is basically like me inserting clips of
John Cena
and Ken Sagos.
Where you hiding at, you burnt face pussy?
Maybe if I insert it, they will come.
Remember Shane?
Hey, bud.
Which is even more fun future therapy fodder.
Oh my god.
You think she could maybe bang her boyfriend somewhere besides the common area where food is prepared in case her son returns home? But no, then they might risk not being so close to each other.
I'm just gonna make dinner. You hungry?
For my pussy.
No, It's the closeness that we treasure here. I've never felt so close to my mom as when I caught her banging her boyfriend in the kitchen when I came home from school.
Really? Who?
His name is John Cena.
Disgusted Andy runs into the hallway where he banters with a friendly cop guy.
So what are you, some kind of fourth floor hallway hobo or something like that?
Well, he's friendly for a cop guy.
What?